that question. Thank you, Brittany. This was an interesting one. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts about people on the left claiming that Roe v. Wade would be better protected with Bernie in office. In my opinion, he seems somewhat quiet about it at the moment. It's definitely an interesting one, Brittany, and I don't really, there's no way to say for sure, obviously, whether or not Bernie would be fighting harder. I think it's fair to say he would definitely be doing more than Joe Biden, that he'd be a little bit more aggressive. In fact, just yesterday, I think he put out a tweet saying that we should, in fact, end the filibuster in the Senate in order to codify Roe versus Wade. And Biden won't even take that position. He won't even get behind abolishing the filibuster. So right there, I mean, there's an example of Bernie saying he would do more than what Biden is currently doing. But obviously, who's to say he would actually do that were he in power? All politicians are going to say they're going to do this or that if they get elected, and then very rarely does it actually come to fruition. So, again, who's to say? I have to imagine, though, that he'd be a little more aggressive than the just completely pathetic response we're seeing coming out of the Biden administration, however.
Yeah, look, I think that what it comes down to, and what I was going to bring up, is exactly what you touched on, is that I think Bernie, if he's president, he scraps the filibuster, and because it's so incumbent on his entire agenda, right? He's already going to be fighting his own party, so he's got to scrap the filibuster. He's got to and I feel like he would have had to have made that one of his first things that he did if he wanted to do anything as president, unless Bernie was going to let me down 10 times more than I even could have imagined. The one thing that I could count on this fucker getting done was canceling some student debt, and then after that, I thought ending the filibuster. Right? I thought those were two things that if we got Bernie say, and legalizing weed, three things. Those were like three things that I was like, when I'm watching The Night of Nevada, this is what I'm thinking to myself, like, it's going to happen for this country, right? Those were some of the things that I thought for sure. And then it's like, well, what can he get the Democrats to pass through? Maybe some infrastructure and things like that are going to be good with a simple majority that, if they had one. We didn't even know if they were going to have a simple majority, but if they did, these were the kind of things that we were all thinking about at the time. And I think that if he gets rid of the filibuster and, the courts overturn Roe v. Wade, then I think he absolutely gets on TV and says it's incumbent on every Democrat to vote for this legislation that will codify Roe v. Wade. I think he does do that. However, I mean, nobody knows for sure, but that would be my gut. And if he didn't do that, boy, hell, would I be fucking furious with Bernie Sanders. Because let me tell you what, that would be the least he could do if he was president. Those three things I laid out.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And that's a good question. Before we get to some more super chats, let's answer our next question from our patron community.